To be blunt, you can't mix with these Sheffield kids you're about to see without feeling you're putting on some gratuitous peep show at their expense, like a tourist patronizingly taking snaps of an alien culture. Because believe you me, to many of the teenagers here, unemployment is a special country bounded by an electrified fence. You exist, but you don't get out. The youth training scheme gives them little glimmers of hope, but they know the future isn't exactly beckoning with a golden finger. This group are digging for victory. Their own victory over frustration, anger, and the feeling that the outside world doesn't give a damn. But Brendan Ingle, the man from Dublin who came here in the 50s, is one of the people who are prepared to go 15 rounds with his philosophy of despair and slug it out all the way. He brings to that task the same sterling qualities he's shown in masterminding the rise of Britain's exciting new hope, Hero Bomber Graham. That was Bomber pursuing his prey Leonard Chinza, and that last punch won him the European light middleweight title in the second round. And to his daughter, Bomber is just a big bundle of cuddles. But not to Erwin Hines. He was slightly less affectionate to that man's ribcage. And it produced the inevitable.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
His next opponent was Jose Says. It was a strange night for Says because, you see, to say Bomber is a conventional mover is to say the Royal Ballet is into breakdancing. Says only lasted 6 rounds. Brendan's bank, you might call this. His kids landscaped the ugliness out of this plot.
The river was in a state. The bank was nothing like it is now. And the kids got in and built right along, took the stones out of the river, built the river bank up, and gradually we're going to landscape it and get it all sorted out.
Brendan, you obviously have a very good relationship with these kids, but how difficult has it been to get that?
Well, I think I've just fell into it over the years, because when I look at them, I was more or less the same as them myself going back years ago. I run the streets wild in Dublin. I was always involved in the boxing game, and an awful lot of no hopers seem to get involved in boxing and find a level. And I find, like this training scheme where I'm involved in, that kids that haven't done very well at school, but there is 1 or 2 exceptions, that when they come and get involved in gardening and they see things growing and they take things away from the allotment, it gives them great satisfaction.
Hi, Bren. Hi, folks.
Back in the 1800s.
Bomber Graham. He really talks their language. The teenagers like him and respect him.
I saw he had a unique talent. You know, he's gifted boxing, and I always taught myself coaching. I could do something that probably nobody else could do. So I just started developing him to box orthodox and southpaw, and he has reflexes like a cat, and he does everything so unorthodox, it's unbelievable, but it's effective.
So you really had potential to work on?
Yeah.
Now, what have you developed then from that?
Well, what he's developed into number 4 in the world in the WBC and the WBA. Well, up here in Sheffield, a lot of people laughed at us 8 years ago when I told them Bomber Graham, within time, will be finish up world champion. He says, no chance. He's in the wrong place and he's the wrong colour. But he's won the British, Commonwealth, European light middleweight title. He beat middleweights and light heavyweights.
Have you had to work very hard on his attitude, or is that there anyway?
Yeah, it hasn't been an easy association. Errol's a right nice fella outside, but sometimes training and sometimes, like everybody else, you get problems. So you've got to be on the ball all the time. It's 7 days a week.
Well, he's been around the boxing for a long time, and he goes around to all shows, no matter where they are. And he said to see me since a youngster. They call me the Bomber, and they're running around the ring. And like, I never knew him, but there's a friend of mine, an Irish friend, who was in the gym who knew Brendan, and he told him all about me. And so he says, right, I'll come down one day and have a word with him. Came down. Within about 3 days, I was up in Sheffield.
Well, what impressed you then?
Well, he just said to me plainly, he put it down basic, right, all you want, right, you need a good trainer, you're going to make millions, don't worry about that, but you're going to be a champion of all things. And I says, yeah, I want to be a champion and I want to make money, I'll come up. So I put my hand up and went.
How hard was he on you?
It wasn't very hard at all, really. I mean, it disciplined me, definitely, because I was the sort of guy running in the morning, and getting up, Brendan, yeah. And, you know, I used to do that all the time. And like I said, look, if you want to be a champion, you've got to do what you're told and as you're told and the way I want it, not you want it.
Boxing has given this church hall sanctuary because without Brendan's initiative, it would have been a dereliction. Instead, it doubles as a Sunday school and a boxing club, with respectful messages of goodwill surrounding the punch bags. You get the impression this man works a 36-hour day, and that's before he deals with Bomber.
He loves working around kids. That's why the job he's got, that's why he's got there. Obviously, if he didn't like it, he wouldn't have been there. But he treats me as one of the family, no different from anybody else. And I think it's great, you know, you having what the children has, and you know, if they're going to do something, you're going to do likewise. He's not going to leave you out.
Like Rome, Sheffield is built on 7 hills, all of which have tested the Graham legs, and quite apart from the strengthening, he takes delight in the freshness of the countryside. And as he runs up these inclines, he's already thinking ahead to the calculated risk of taking on dangerous opponents who could prove unexpected obstacles on the route to the top of the pile.
You're always wary of what can happen, what does happen in the boxing, but you've got to take those chances if you want to get to the top. And these are one of those chances I've got to take. I want to show everybody that, you know, anybody they put in front of me, I'm going to beat. Of course, I want the top man, Marvin Hagler.
Who'd want him, even if they manacled his hands behind his back? And yet there is in Bomber a conviction that shines through, even when he's with the kids.
Nobody's done Errol Graham no favours because he's gone all over the country and boxed in the small halls. He's boxed the best and beat the best. He's had no hand-picked opponents.
So you feel that almost automatically, because he's done that course, he deserves something better in the way of arranging fixtures?
Well, of course he does, but as I said before, it's very, very hard. But it's coming. He's number 4 in the world, and he will beat Marvin Hagler.
Bomber should have been fighting the American Donald Bowers at the Albert Hall on Wednesday, but he went missing, and now Bomber must meet Justino Ruiz. This new fight is accepted with a quiet resolution that clearly indicates that the idea of defeat is unthinkable. Hagler, well, he's still well over the horizon. You see, they're still in the process of proving themselves, so that by the time he fights Kaluli the Dane in the new year, he'll have an impeccable pedigree. In the big smoke, Bomber and Brendan prefer to play it low-key, spurning the dubious comforts of a London hotel for the semi-detached security of relatives. Fine china, tea and biscuits are better for the nerves than room service. To his aunt, he's simply one of the family. To his supporters, he's good enough to take the European title, and about which fight Brendan can hardly contain his excitement.
Well, it's the former world champion, Kaluli, and I should imagine it'll be billed. It's billed for the European title, but it'll also be billed as a world eliminator. So everything's going to be on the line.
Have you got everything in preparation for that? I mean, even the coming fight against the American, is that simply preparation for the European?
Oh, of course it is. Every step we've taken, even though it's been hard and we've had some unexpected things happen to us, you know, we've never lost sight of what he's got to do, what I've got to do.
And it's likely that you can always predict that he will box the way you would like him to box on the night at the right time.
Yes and no. And when I say yes, he will do it, but it all depends on what the situation is and what the opponent does, and then Errol will bring something out of the bag.
They used to call him Bomber because he would pinch sweets from his mother's little shop and run away so fast they said he'd bombed out of the way. But he's certainly not running away from either the affection of his supporters, who follow him all around the country, or his fate. And he does actually dream of that fight with Hagler.
I fought the fight in my head when he fought Thomas Hearns, actually. I says, no way would I have done the same thing as Thomas Hearns done. You know, I would have fought my fight, not Hagler's fight. everybody who fights Hagler goes to him because they want to be the one to dethrone him by trying to knock him out. But you don't do it that way. You have to look at it, it's a thinking game. And if you go straight in, you're not thinking.
Well, that's confident talk, but it's also dangerous talk, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, everything's dangerous in boxing. Life's dangerous, so everybody's living dangerously anyway, so, it's nothing new to me.
But you're going to get there.
Oh, definitely get there, yeah, that's a certainty.
The almost affectionate laying on of hands by Brendan before the fight. Here, Bomber becomes a fragile parcel, his hands treasured like porcelain. You'd buy a second-hand car from Bomber, he's that kind of nice guy. But in the ring, he gives things away free. The only thing is, what he's got, you might not want, like a passport to oblivion.